You're putting on your shoes. You haven't said a word yet. You haven't reached for your keys. You're just tying a lace. And your dog is already at the door, staring, tail low, eyes locked on you, not moving, just watching. Most people call this separation anxiety, but that's not what's happening, at least not in the way you think. Because what looks like fear is actually something far more complex, something wired so deep into your dog's brain that it starts before you even touch the doorknob. And if you understand what's really going on in that moment, the way you see your dog changes completely. Let's start with what most people assume. They see the staring, the following, the whining that starts the second you grab your coat, and they think, my dog is scared I'm leaving. And that's partly true, but it's surface level true, because fear is only one piece of what's happening. The deeper mechanism isn't just emotional, it's biological. It's about survival architecture that goes back thousands of years. And it doesn't start when you walk out the door. It starts the moment your routine shifts. Here's what researchers at the University of Lincoln found. Dogs don't just react to you leaving. They react to the pattern of signals that predict you're about to leave. The shoes, the keys, the jacket, even the time of day. Their brains are building a prediction model in real time. And the second that model says separation is coming, their entire nervous system begins to shift. This isn't anxiety in the human sense. It's anticipatory stress response. Your dog isn't panicking because you're gone. Your dog is preparing for the fact that you're about to be unreachable. And in the psychology of a social species, that distinction matters. Because to your dog, you're not just a companion. You're a secure base. That term comes from attachment theory. It was first studied in human children, but it applies to dogs in a way that's almost identical. A secure base is the emotional anchor that makes the world feel safe. It's the thing you return to when you're uncertain, when you're threatened, when you need reassurance. And when that base starts to move away, the brain doesn't just register absence, it registers vulnerability. Think about what that means in your dog's world. You leave, the house goes quiet, and your dog is now in an environment where the single most important social bond is gone. No voice, no presence, no predictability. From your dog's perspective, the structure of safety just collapsed. And this is where the behavior starts to look completely different. The whining isn't begging, it's a contact call. In wolf packs, separated members use vocalizations to re-establish location. It's a way of saying, I'm here. Where are you? Can you hear me? Your dog isn't crying because it's sad. Your dog is trying to close the distance the only way it knows how. The pacing isn't restlessness, it's vigilance behavior. When a dog paces near the door after you leave, it's not random movement, it's positional monitoring. Your dog is staying close to the last place it detected you, scanning for signals that you're returning. The sound of footsteps, the turn of a key, anything that predicts reunion. This is the part most people miss. Your dog isn't experiencing time the way you are. You know you'll be back in 3 hours. Your dog doesn't. To your dog, every separation could be permanent. There's no concept of, I'll be home at 5. There's only, you were here, and now you're not. And that creates a low-level state of uncertainty that doesn't resolve until you return. But here's where it gets more interesting. Not all dogs respond the same way. And that difference tells us something important about what's actually being measured during separation. Some dogs settle after 15 minutes. They move to a quiet spot. They sleep. They wait. Other dogs stay activated for hours, whining, pacing, destructive behavior. Same event, completely different internal experience. What's the difference? Attachment security. Researchers have found that dogs with secure attachment to their owners show what's called protest, despair, detachment. They protest when you leave. Brief vocalizations, some pacing. Then they move into a calm, waiting state. They're not happy, but they're not in crisis. They've learned through repeated experience that separation is temporary. Dogs with insecure attachment don't make that shift. They stay in protest mode. The stress doesn't decrease, it escalates, because their prediction model says separation means danger. And that belief doesn't update even after you've come home 1,000 times. And this is the distinction that really matters. What looks like the same behavior on the surface is actually two completely different psychological states. One is healthy attachment, expressing temporary discomfort. The other is chronic stress, rooted in unpredictability. And you can't fix the second one by just leaving more often. Because the issue isn't the separation itself. It's whether your dog has learned that you are reliable. Now think about what that means in real life. Every time you leave and come back, you're not just completing a routine. You're writing data into your dog's prediction system. You're teaching, I leave, but I return. The bond doesn't break. The secure base comes back. And over time, if that pattern is consistent, your dog's nervous system starts to trust it. The anticipatory stress gets shorter. The protest phase gets quieter. The waiting becomes calmer. Not because your dog cares less, because your dog has internalized a deeper truth. You always come back. But there's another layer most owners never see. The behavior doesn't just depend on your dog's attachment. It also depends on what happens while you're gone. A study from the University of Bristol monitored dogs during owner absence using hidden cameras and cortisol tracking. And what they found was surprising. Dogs didn't stay stressed the entire time. Most dogs showed a spike in cortisol within the first 20 minutes after the owner left. Heart rate increased, vocalizations peaked, classic stress response. But then, in dogs with no separation anxiety disorder, something shifted. The cortisol dropped. The heart rate normalized. The dog moved into rest mode. They weren't calm because they stopped caring. They were calm because their nervous system recognized the threat hasn't materialized. I'm alone, but I'm not in danger. And the brain can stand down. That's the part that changes everything. Your dog isn't suffering the entire time you're gone. Your dog is going through a biological process: anticipation, activation, assessment, resolution. And if that process completes, your dog can settle. The dogs that couldn't settle were the ones whose stress response never resolved. They stayed activated, vigilant, cortisol elevated. Hours later, still pacing. And that's not attachment, that's anxiety disorder. Which brings us to the part most people confuse. Normal separation behavior looks like this. Your dog reacts when you leave, then adjusts. Separation anxiety looks like this. Your dog reacts when you leave, and the reaction intensifies. The difference isn't volume, it's trajectory. A dog that whines for 5 minutes, then curls up and sleeps, that's attachment. A dog that destroys furniture, injures itself trying to escape, or vocalizes for 2 hours straight, that's a nervous system stuck in threat mode. And the reason that distinction matters is this. One is natural, the other is treatable. If your dog shows normal attachment behavior, the goal isn't to eliminate it. The goal is to build predictability. Consistent routines, calm departures, reliable returns. You're reinforcing the pattern. I leave, I come back, you are safe. If your dog shows true separation anxiety, predictability alone won't fix it. Because the issue isn't learned, it's neurological. The stress response is firing even when there's no rational threat. And that requires behavior modification, sometimes medication, and almost always professional guidance. But here's the most important thing to understand. Even healthy attachment has a cost. Your dog's brain is spending energy every time you leave, monitoring, predicting, waiting. And while that's normal, it's not neutral. Over time, if separations are too long, too frequent, or too unpredictable, even secure dogs can start to show strain. The whining lasts a little longer. The pacing starts a little earlier. The cortisol takes more time to drop. It's not separation anxiety yet, but it's the early edge of it. And that's why the rhythm of your absence matters as much as the fact of it. Dogs aren't built for isolation. They're built for proximity. In a natural pack structure, separation happens, but it's brief. A hunt, a patrol, a short-range exploration. Then, reunion. The bond reestablishes. The secure base returns. But modern life doesn't work that way. We leave for 8 hours, 10 hours, sometimes longer. And during that time, our dogs are doing something their brains didn't evolve for. Waiting alone in a space where nothing happens. No social interaction. No environmental stimulation. just silence and stillness and the slow passage of time. And while most dogs adapt, it's worth recognizing what we're asking of them. We're asking them to override a core biological drive, the drive to stay close to their pack, the drive to maintain contact with their secure base. And they do it, every single day. Because their attachment to us is strong enough to tolerate the discomfort. That's not weakness. That's trust. So when you see your dog at the door, staring as you put on your shoes, here's what's actually happening. Your dog's brain is running a prediction. It's reading the signals, the shoes, the keys, the shift in your body language, and it's calculating. How long will you be gone? Will you come back? Is this normal or is this different? And even though your dog has seen this 1,000 times, the question still activates. Because attachment doesn't learn to stop caring. It learns to trust the pattern. The staring isn't accusation. It's connection. Your dog is holding the bond in focus for as long as possible, storing the scent, the presence, the last moment of certainty before uncertainty begins. And when you walk out the door, that bond doesn't break. It stretches. Your dog doesn't forget you. Your dog doesn't move on. Your dog enters a state of waiting, low-level vigilance, environmental monitoring, a nervous system on standby, ready to reactivate the second you return. And the moment you do, watch what happens. The tail, the full-body greeting, the intensity of the reunion. That's not just excitement. That's relief. That's the secure base coming back online. That's your dog's brain completing the loop. You left, you returned, the bond is intact. And in that moment, everything your dog went through while you were gone gets overwritten by one simple truth. You came back. Which means the next time you leave, your dog's prediction model updates. The separation was temporary. The bond held. The wait was worth it. And that's the deeper point. What your dog feels when you leave isn't just one emotion. It's a cascade. Anticipation, stress, vigilance, adjustment, waiting. And eventually, if you've built the pattern, trust. Not trust that you'll never leave. Trust that when you do, you'll return. And that trust is built one departure, one return, one completed loop at a time. So the next time you're putting on your shoes and your dog is watching, you'll know. You're not seeing fear. You're seeing attachment in action. Biology doing what it was designed to do. A bond so strong that even temporary distance activates the entire system. That's not a problem to fix. That's proof of how deeply your dog is connected to you. And maybe that changes the way the moment feels. Does your dog follow you from room to room, even when you're home? Or do they only react when you're about to leave? And if you've ever wondered why your dog sleeps in a different spot, depending on where you are in the house, the reason is more intentional than you think.